Hello, I'm Dr. Chester Wilk. I'm the chiropractor who won a major landmark antitrust lawsuit against the American Medical Association for unlawfully trying to eliminate the chiropractic profession. You can see Wilk et al. Versus AMA et al. On the web. The AMA reportedly spent $20 million defending itself in court, and the suit took 14 years, went to the Supreme Court twice before the AMA was found guilty of violating the Sherman Antitrust Law. I became well known throughout the world among chiropractors for bringing about closer interprofessional cooperation between medical and chiropractic physicians. Closer interprofessional cooperation is an absolute necessity if we're to have a well-balanced, appropriate, safe, and effective, and also, very importantly, cost-efficient healthcare system. There are three factors causing America's downward trend toward bankruptcy. The first is the unholy alliance between the pharmaceutical industry called Pharma, its lobbyists, and the medical physicians, and how they have America in a stranglehold. The second is the political aspect and how the lobbyists are putting their selfish interests first above the interest of America and are controlling our politicians like puppets. And the third is the influence of the devil as influenced by the violence and senseless killing as we see on television. And so let's address the medical problem first. Drugs are being overutilized in America, causing 3,000 unnecessary iatrogenic deaths a week, which I refer to as a modern-day medical holocaust, plus another 300 deaths every week from unnecessary surgery. Yet, we are abysmally ignorant of its seriousness. Drugs are a double-edged sword which can either take or save lives and requires rational utilization to be proper. And they are not being properly used. Case in point, medical doctors use antibiotics on patients with viral conditions. And everybody knows that antibiotic drugs are ineffective with viruses. Not only that, but using antibiotic drugs unnecessarily makes the bacteria mutate and become more drug resistant to the antibiotics, and the bacteria are winning the battle. Pharma spends $1.5 billion a month mind programming people into taking pills. This is obscene. That's over $350 million a week promoting drugs, and we've created a nation of drug addicts and junkies. We use enough prescription medications to put every man, woman, and child under the influence of these drugs for 1 month. The chiropractic profession has not spent this amount of money in promoting itself in over 100 years, compared to what Pharma spends in just 1 week. Yet chiropractic is growing by leaps and bounds, which tell you something about the safety and effectiveness of drugless chiropractic healthcare. Meanwhile, MDs have become the largest cause of death in America after heart disease and cancer. Every 14 minutes, someone dies from unnecessary medications. Medical doctors kill more people than traffic accidents, AIDS, breast cancer, diabetes, respiratory diseases, stroke, and guns. Hey, you anti-gun people out there, wake up. And our healthcare system is the #1 most expensive in the world, yet 36 nations have better quality healthcare than America, and it is a #1 cause of families bankrupting in America. And it is contributing to putting America into bankruptcy as well. Greater drugless chiropractic utilization can lower the cost of healthcare. The overutilization of drugs and surgery is a major factor to bankrupting America. When the medical doctors went on a labor union strike one time in Los Angeles County and only conducted necessary surgery during that period, the death rate in 1 month dropped by 153 people. Now that became quite a scandal, to say the least. Our society needs to tone down the excessive overutilization of drugs and surgery, and people need to recognize the difference between being sold or being educated. Unappropriate drug utilization Donald Trump recognizes the dangers of drugs and raised his children by telling them no drugs, alcohol, or cigarettes. And look at the tremendous job he did with his family running his company. He's to be commended for it. America has been heading toward bankruptcy for several decades now and keeps digging itself into a deeper hole every year with no signs of getting better. And each year it gets harder to crawl out. It'll take an extremely powerful individual to reverse this downward trend today. And this is where Donald Trump steps into this picture. You can love him or you can hate him. But he has one of the most brilliant business minds in the world, and God didn't give him all this talent to be wasted. By the way, he's a Christian. He could very well be God sent to save America from bankruptcy. He's a reluctant politician at heart and a superb negotiator and businessman. And he's one of the most brilliant, if not the most brilliant, negotiators in the history of America. He's written bestseller books on negotiation. He's built an $11 billion empire. We need this kind of genius and talent in the White House. He can save America from bankruptcy. For anyone to question his capability to become president would be ridiculous and dishonest. In all due respect to Dr. Ben Carson, who I admire and respect as a brilliant neurologist and a magnificent human being and role model for the black people to try to emulate. And by the way, it proves that white people do not judge others by the color of the skin, even though they had a bad experience with President Obama. But would it make any sense to elect a brain surgeon for president of the United States? We need to vote for a president based on their past accomplishments, experience, and expertise on what they can do for America, not on their likability. This is not a popularity contest as to who is the nicest guy. If you base it on what he can do to help America based on his background and his accomplishments as a businessman, it's Donald Trump all the way. Of course, Trump is not perfect, as none of us are. And at times, Trump can be almost too candid. But he's 100% genuine and honest and very generous. And he has a big heart and the best plan for survival for America. And I'm going to give you 16 reasons why Donald Trump and his policies must be embraced, or we will most assuredly become bankrupt. Reason number 1. He wants to erect a prefabricated, steel-reinforced concrete wall on our southern border. Call it a Trump wall, which will be very effective and cost-efficient and save the Mexican government having them erected for us after Trump negotiates a deal with the Mexican government. Trump is right. Our southern border has been the dumping ground for the entire world. Over 20% of the felons in many of our jails today are illegal immigrants. Do you realize that? Imagine for a moment, if we had a secure border, we probably would not have over 20% of our felons in jail. There's no doubt that the ultimate positive impact of this wall will be priceless and immeasurable in terms of its benefit to the American people, and it's certainly long overdue. Reason number 2, we need smarter and tougher negotiators to deal with China, Mexico, and Japan, and other countries on trade. They're killing us economically on trade. Our negotiators were chosen for their political contribution to their party rather than carefully being selected for their negotiation skills. It'd be like pitting a grandmaster chess champion up against an amateur chess player, and America is using amateurs. Once our debt exceeds $24 trillion, the interest on our debt will exceed our ability to ever pay it back, and we'll bankrupt. Our Social Security checks will stop, and this will bring about frustration, outrage, violence, and martial law. We've had it real good for 20 years, and if we don't listen to Trump, we will bankrupt. America needs a serious wake-up call, and Donald Trump is the messenger with a logical solution which I outline here. Reason number 3, America protects Saudi Arabia, which has been making $1 billion a day from oil. Yet we do not receive 1 penny in return for protecting and enabling them to make this kind of money, as we weaken ourselves financially helping them. Trump would replace our politically chosen amateurs with highly skilled negotiators, so Saudi Arabia would pay their fair share for us protecting them. Reason number 4. We need to start drilling for oil in Alaska and become a world-class oil producer and not be dependent on our oil from countries who hate us with a passion and shout "Death to America" and would rather see us annihilated. Trump will make drilling for oil in Alaska a reality. Reason number 5. South Korea is enjoying economic wealth, building automobiles, providing all kinds of other goods because of our help and protection, and sacrificing American lives to do this for them. And whenever North Korea threatens South Korea, we send planes and troops to protect them. We enable South Korea to make a lot of money at our expense, yet we don't get 1 penny for it. Trump says that Korea should pay us its fair share for protecting them. I agree. Reason number 6. It's the same situation with helping the Russian Ukraine. Whenever Vladimir Putin flexes his muscles, we can't be a benevolent charity and protector of the entire world and remain solvent financially. That's impossible. Reason number 7. In 2011, Trump wisely opposed getting involved with invading Iraq, and he was strongly criticized for it by the Bush administration. History proved that Trump was exactly right when he said that our involvement would disrupt the balance of power in the Middle East. And then we further complicated our errors by moving out of Iraq prematurely. Type in to your computer, "O'Reilly interviews Trump April 1, 2011 in your search engine, and you'll be astounded, and you'll appreciate how accurate Donald Trump was over 4 years ago. Reason number 8. Mr. Trump is very candid and tells it like it is to expose the gross naivete and incompetence of our leaders. He candidly refers to it as stupidity, but Trump's candor is called tough love, and it's a wake-up call. Reason number 9. The other Republican candidates need to put politics aside and openly and unselfishly acknowledge that Trump is right. And Trump knows who is the best qualified negotiator to use with whatever country we deal with. Reason number 10. Trump refuses to accept money from lobbyists. This gives Trump a distinct edge over the other candidates who depend on special interest groups for their money. Trump is a reluctant politician who is financing his own campaign, and he wants to replace Obamacare with a better health care plan. I'm sure Trump's thousands of employees can attest to their health care plan as being far superior to Obamacare. Reason number 11. The pharmaceutical industry, called Pharma, spends tens of billions of dollars a year lobbying for the selfish interests, and they have a stranglehold on America. There are 2.5 lobbyists for every legislator in Washington pushing their selfish drug interests. However, Trump will not be influenced by Pharma. Drug companies stand to gain a huge increase in their already bloated profits after Obama goes into effect. Did you know, for example, that 11 cents worth of the ingredients in Prozac will cost you $247? That's 225,000% markup. And some experts say that Prozac is worthless, if not even dangerous. So why use it? Well, I can give you 247 reasons if you know what I mean, and they're not good ones. I'd love to serve on Donald Trump's Health Advisor Committee on health care. Our so-called health care system is more of a disease care and needs a major overhaul in the way it is being utilized. 1 ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure. Reason number 12. Donald Trump is sacrificing his comfortable lifestyle to become our president and taking on the dangerous and ruthless Mexican drug cartel. These are very dangerous people. ISIS has nothing on them. So we better say a prayer for Donald Trump. He needs the presidency like he needs a headache. He's putting his life on the line for his country by running for president. Bill O'Reilly on Fox News gave a resume on illegal immigration entitled "The Vilification of Donald Trump Over Illegal Immigration." You should watch it on the YouTube or Google. You will appreciate how Donald Trump is both generous and very courageous by choosing to run for president. Reason number 13. Trump has written a national bestseller on negotiations. He's a natural for the job, an expert negotiation of the highest caliber, and he will try to bring both political parties together on different issues. That's what negotiators do. And he will put America's interests first over the selfish interests of lobby groups. Donald Trump will be a unifier and uniter by using his negotiation skills and reaching out to the Democrats, negotiating with them instead of signing a bunch of executive orders like President Obama has done. Pharma spends 19 times more money on promoting drugs than it does on research. Perhaps if Pharma spent 19 times more money on research rather than advertising, we'd be in better shape as a nation with health care. When Obama goes into effect in 2016, our health care will go from bad to worse. Much, much worse. Obamacare will be a dagger in the heart of our nation. Replacing Obamacare and overhauling the way our health care is utilized will be a major step toward avoiding bankruptcy. Reason number 14, and then we have the illegal immigration problem. We're partly to blame for allowing this to happen. It has gotten too far out of control, but there is a humane solution, and here it is. To those illegal immigrants who are settled down in America today, they can remain in America under probation if they immediately apply for American citizenship and if they don't have criminal records. Legal immigration can be speeded up and made easier and quicker to resolve this problem. As for illegal immigrants with criminal records, they should be deported with the understanding that if they return, they will face criminal charges. Donald Trump owns a lot of real estate in America, and if our country goes bankrupt, and it most assuredly will happen if we don't follow his expert advice, Trump and America will be the two biggest losers, since who will be able to afford to stay at Trump's luxurious hotels or use his beautiful golf courses after being broke? He very well knows it. And he's fighting tooth and nail to save America while too many of us are blinded from seeing the truth. Trump is totally committed to see that our country becomes great again. And that's more than a symbol. It's his sincere belief. Reason number 15. Trump is a Christian and will bring Christian values back into the White House for the first time in many years. President Obama is not a Christian, and I will prove it to you. Reason number 16. Donald Trump offered $5 million to a charity of President Obama's choice. And then he raised his generous offer to $50 million if the president would simply release his birth certificate before a specified date. President Obama released his records after the deadline date and thereby denied 50 million people dollars to the needy. I didn't hear any national outcry after Obama did this, and everybody gave him a pass on it. Have we become so cold, uncaring, indifferent, and callous as a nation to not recognize the huge Christian significance of Trump's generous offer and Obama's disgraceful rejection? I will address the following message directly to President Obama, and I hope he reads or hears this. Dear Mr. President, why did you wait until the deadline to release your birth certificate and thereby deny these poor people from receiving $50 million? You understood the terms. They were crystal clear. All you had to do was release your certificate by the deadline, and instead you deliberately waited until after that deadline to release them. And then worse, you sarcastically ridiculed Donald Trump's kind and generous offer in a late-night talk show. What you did was contemptible, disgraceful, and inexcusable, and was anti-Christian. Donald Trump exposed you, but the American people slept through it. I don't know what you are, Mr. President, but by your disgraceful conduct, you prove beyond all reasonable doubt as to what you are not. And you are not a Christian, since no Christian would ever have done what you did. The only person I can think of who would turn down such an incredible offer would be the devil himself, and that's exactly what you did. You and the Democratic Party have done enough damage to our country. The most honorable thing you could do is step aside and resign as president. You can ask any minister or priest privately if it's possible for the devil to influence people. They will all tell you, yes, it is possible. Then ask the same pastor if the devil could possibly influence President Obama, and the odds are they will cower, they will back off, evade, or sidestep that question. So why don't these same pastors come right out and say it publicly or on television? Because, number one, they may be influenced by the Barna study, in which 40% of the Christians polled believe the devil is a symbol of evil and not a person. But if that was true, then Christ would either be a liar or a fool, because Christ made it crystal clear that there is a devil. Our pastors need to do a better job of exposing the devil. Number two, they're afraid of being viewed as a religious extremist and a nut because of the stigma attached to mentioning the devil. That's very clever of the devil doing this, because if you don't know your enemy, you become an easy target. And number three, they want to be politically correct, which is, once again, the devil's influence. And number four, because of the separation of church and state. But our founding fathers never wanted to take religion out of politics, but they want to take politics out of churches because of the Church of England's discriminatory policy on religion. If you go to the YouTube and type in my video entitled, "The Devil is Influencing President Obama," you'll get 38 examples, which are way too many to be coincidental. While you're on the YouTube, you can also see my other video entitled, "Discrediting Atheists with a Statistical Probability Factor." Or better yet, you can download both scripts of these two videos right now. Just click on the download button. And if anyone doubts what I say here is true, I invite any and all atheists to a debate, and I will destroy their credibility big time. It'll be no contest. I know this sounds overly confident, even outright cocky, but if you listen to my video, once again, "Discrediting Atheists with a Statistical Probability Factor," you will understand. And you will agree that I am right. And we can thank the good Lord for giving me this information. I thank you for listening, and I am Dr. Chester Wilk, and here are my two latest books. The Devil's Intervention into Healthcare, Politics, Churches, Courts, and Families. The Case for Christ and Against the Devil. My books are available from Amazon, in paperback, and as ebooks from Kindle.